Are you suggesting, though, that the president may not go through with the tariffs because he certainly has given no indication that he's backing down, and he said as much?
I didn't suggest that, but I am taking the president at his word that he doesn't expect there to be a trade war. That I believe. I didn't say that because I don't know what the actual end result policy will eventually be promulgated, but I am taking the president at his word that he doesn't think there will be a trade war, and I don't think he's indicating that he wants a trade war. But again, I think what he does want, and you have to look at it clinically, and you have to look at what we often call free trade is imbalanced trade or unfair trade in the United States, and very free trade for our trading partners. I think what the president's basically saying, it's time to right-size that. That'll be better for middle America, better for the middle class, lower middle class families. So I think that's the message, and I think we need to wait to see how this thing unfolds.
But you've said all of the things that Gary Cohn is, right, that you've said, the important role that he played under the tax policy, the important voice that he has to the markets. How concerned should investors be today that Gary Cohn, that critical voice, one that you know so well, is leaving?
Okay, well, listen, I love Gary. I think he's a world-class guy. The White House didn't miss a beat after I left. He's a way bigger loss than me by a factor of 200. But Charles de Gaulle once said that when you walk the graveyard, it's loaded with indispensable men and women. And so maybe he just said men, but I'll add women for this sake of this argument. At the end of the day, we have a tremendous talent pool in the United States. The president is correct that many people will be attracted to that job. He'll be able to recruit a very good person for that job. And the president also is commending Gary for a job well done. This guy is a superstar. He's excelled at everything in his career. And I'll tell you right now, as an investor, wherever he's going next, I would certainly want to be an owner of the equity of whatever he's participating in his life. But we know that none of us are indispensable. The country is very well positioned for economic growth and economic opportunity. Our corporations, as a result of the tax plan that Gary and Steve, or Secretary Mnuchin and Gary Cohn put together, and the president signed and got through the Congress, is going to lead to an acceleration of growth and prosperity for the U.S. And I think you've got to step back and look at the macros here. The economic dashboard hasn't looked this good in a decade. And I think the market should take a pause here, reflect on what I'm saying, and reflect on what a macro analysis would be of this situation. And I predict, further growth ahead.
Let me ask you, Anthony, what you think it's like inside the White House as we speak, amid some reports, and people use the words chaos, which yesterday the president shot back against. But he did say, and I quote, "I like conflict. I like having two people with two points of view. I like watching it. I like seeing it." And I'm wondering, Anthony, if you think some of that conflict is getting in the way of the president's process.
Well, I mean, again, you have to look at the results. So, just step back. Whatever some people don't like about the style, or some people don't like about some of the rougher edges of the conversations, you have to step back and look at the results and look at the opportunity that's being created for the average American person. At the end of the day, after 26 campaign rallies, what I can tell you is that the president is turning a group of working class people. I came from a family of aspirational working class people. We've had a period of time now of desperational working class people, and the president is turning that. And so he's restoring that dream to American families across the of America. So to me, if there's a little roughness in the White House, or there's some rotation, you have to also remember he's an entrepreneur. And so I built two businesses. The first 2 years of the businesses that I built, unfortunately, we had heavy turnover as we were trying to get the system right and the culture right to accelerate the
But this is a lot of turnover, right? I mean, if this was a Fortune 500, we'd be saying, what's going on?
But it's not, okay? He's an entrepreneur. He's a maverick. The American people elected a disruptor. They're certainly worried about certain shenanigans that go on inside of Washington. They put the president in place there to help dislodge that or break some of that nonsense. and he's an entrepreneur. And so what he's going to do, he's going to bring an entrepreneur skill set to the game. That means there'll be potential conflict and a little bit of cross-roughing. It'll mean some turnover. If you look at businesses that are startups, and any of these large businesses now, whether it's Dell, Amazon, Microsoft, et cetera, they experience in the early stages, the 1 to 2 year early stages, high turnover. And so let's analyze the president from his business career and from the maverick nature of the business that he's created. And you step back and look at it, I don't think the turnover, myself included, I'm a casualty of that turnover. I don't think the turnover is that big of a deal.
It is higher, though, than the prior 2 administrations, which certainly seems to raise some questions about what's happening there. Who wants to work in the White House? The president obviously defending that as well yesterday.
Unlimited talent supply of people that will work in the White House and work for President Trump. But also remember, you had 44 presidents prior to President Trump. He is unique. He didn't have governmental experience like a Dwight Eisenhower that didn't have any political experience, or an Andrew Jackson. He is unique. He moved from the American business community into the American presidency in 17 short months, and he's bringing his business style to Washington. And so,
right, but I've made the point, though, that most businesses, certainly ones that we would deal with on a daily basis on this particular network, don't necessarily operate that way. And we would all have questions. Anthony, if you were running a business that had this much turnover within this short period of time of 1 year, we may step back and say, what's really happening?
Well, listen, I did, though. Skybridge Capital, which now has 70 people and 10, 11 billion of management in the first 1 to 2 years. So, again, I'm looking at the results. Step back, look at the economic dashboard, look at the progress made on regulation, look at the American results are there. Some people don't like it from a historical precedent point of view. It's probably not fitting cutter of past administrations or precedents. He has a good mold. You have to recognize as an analyst that he's very different than his 44 predecessors. And so, and I predict that he'll have a even better 18 than he had of 17, and by 19, he'll have that staff figured out, and it'll work in a way that's responsive to his personality.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.